Welcome to the February podcast of Conversations with the Vault, presented to you by Angelina Carew of Hometown Realty. Today I have two special guests. I'm excited to welcome Gabriella Terry and Michael Sims. So welcome today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Glad to have you. So tell everybody a little bit about what you do and who you are. So we'll start with you, Gabriella.
Okay. So I'm Gabriella Terry. I own Chabella's Catering and Event Planning, All in a Picnic, and Mood Food. So I'm just a serial entrepreneur. All of our businesses are based in Johnson County. I've been here for 7 years now, and I just love what I do. I love opening new businesses, figuring it out as I go along. I've learned a lot along the way, so now I'm at the point where I think I've dabbled in enough things to know exactly what I want to do now. So just enjoying the road, the process. Love giving back, love mentoring, and love being part of the chamber.
Awesome. And your role here at the chamber is, you have many, but your main role for this podcast is?
Sure. So I'm on the board of directors, and then I'm the chair this year for Bridge, which is our DEI initiative that we'll get into. I serve as an ambassador, and then I'm on several different task forces.
Awesome. And Mr. Sims.
Yeah, so I am Michael Sims. I am originally from Detroit, Michigan. Did a 20-year stint in the United States Marine Corps. Retired here in the town of Clayton. Absolutely fell in love with it. Extremely involved in different boards and different organizations. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, work currently as Vice President of Video for TNT Creative Group, which is a digital media marketing firm. And also served as the Mayor Pro Tem for the town of Clayton.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your service to the Clayton community. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
So we're here to talk a little bit about our Bridge Council and then our summit, Creating a Culture of Belonging, which is February the 27th.
Right around the corner.
I know. Get your tickets today. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Bridge Council. Maybe its origin, how did it come to be about, the mission, how it relates to the chamber and the business community. And so we'll start with you, Gabriella, because this was sort of your brainchild.
So it's funny how it came about. Being biracial, I've always dealt with certain things growing up and things like that. But it came about because I won Top 55 Women to Know in North Carolina a couple years back. And I went to Charlotte, and I've had my makeup done several times by professionals. But in this situation, I was surprised and I was taken back because I went to Charlotte for this award ceremony, and I could not find someone that would do my makeup. They struggled, right? Being biracial, you have your skin color is a little bit different. So Caucasian artists had a little bit of a hard time, and then African American artists had a little bit of a hard time. But mind you, I had my makeup done several times before, I never had a problem. So I was taken back by it. I talked to my mom. I was super upset. We ended up doing my own makeup. Everything was fine. But when I came back the following week, I got a massage. And it just kept playing on my head. Like, all these amazing women were up on the stage being recognized for all these amazing things that they had done, all walks of life, all different ethnicities and skin complexions and backgrounds and demographics, and everyone was just so different. And it just hit me like, this is a problem not only just in everyday life of getting your makeup done, but on a larger scale. It's just a problem in the world, but also like in the workforce, right? We all just literally want to belong. Mm-hmm. And so I just remember being on that massage table and I just couldn't shake it. I was like, something just needs to be done. Because this is small, this is makeup, but there's people out there that don't feel like they belong, right? Whether it be in the workforce or it be whatever it is that they deal with on a daily basis, they just feel like they don't belong. And so that's when Bridge was born. The acronym just kind of came about, building relationships, impacting diversity, growing the economy, because it all just kind of goes together. Like that's the whole purpose. And you can apply that acronym, with whatever. It could be a school, a church group, a organization like this that advocates for businesses. But regardless, at the end of the day, we all just want to belong. So, for me, that's how it came about. And that's just kind of, been something that stuck with me ever since. But it took something small like that, to make me realize that, like, I had dealt with that my whole life. But now, like, as an adult, it's still a problem.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you bringing that idea to the table here at the chamber, and so after that, I shortly there talked to you about being involved in the Bridge Council. So what prompted you to decide that you wanted to give your time to this council?
I would say more than anything else, just my background, being able to have function in different capacities for the way that you function in the United States Marine Corps is going to be different from where I function. I served some time at corporate at Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
Also, to lend the fact that I served at Walmart. I actually ran a Walmart facility, serving on several different boards and different organizations, whether it be the Rotary Club, where I served as president, right, to several nonprofits where I have been on their committees, and also have been the executive director of those. So understanding that there's diversity in all of those, and diversity is a two-way street. I look at it as not just what I bring to the table, but what the individuals that I'm serving, working with, communicating with, also bring to the table. And we have to, she used the term bridge the gap, but we have to just look at, working together. And I think that I have a unique background in being able to communicate. And I left out government, because even in government, it does different facets, a lot of them.
Right. Well, you asked me a interesting question earlier, and you said, why now? Why did you feel like that this was important for this Chamber of Commerce to put this council in place? And I'll have to say that it's personal for me as well. I think we all bring things to the table, but I have a son with cerebral palsy. And so I have experienced the belonging piece on that end, the struggle it is to try to fit in, the struggle it is to try to, just find a place to park and get out and get your wheelchair out and get into a building, and how do you get into the building and how do you maneuver once you're in there. So belonging to me has always been important. And one of the things that I think here at the Chamber that I feel very strongly about is I want everyone that walks through this door to feel welcome. And one of the things that I'm also charged with is, okay, if there's a problem, if there's a need in the business community, how can this chamber be a part of helping solve that? And so when you brought this Bridge Council to the chamber, I thought, what a great opportunity for us to make sure that minority-owned businesses, people with disabilities, race, gender, everybody feels welcome. And, we have a lot of, the demographics, I think, of this town has changed quite a bit over the past 5 years.
Huge.
And, so we are now becoming a more diverse business population and residential population than we've ever been. So I think timing is everything.
Right, absolutely.
And I think the time is now that we have these conversations and we create a culture of belonging, which is why we have titled our summit Creating a Culture of Belonging. And so let's talk a little bit about the summit. I know that, Michael, you're going to be speaking, and you're going to be talking about communication in the workplace. So why did you choose that topic, and give us a little bit of, an insight of what we're going to learn.
A little sneak peek.
A little sneak peek.
Yeah, I've actually have spoke on this topic. I've been blessed. I've spoken on it several times, and I enjoy speaking on it. To your point, Clayton itself in 2010, I want to say, was right around 9,000. And you look at it today, it's right around 30,000.
Yeah.
So just that increase alone, and that influx is from individuals from all around. That goes in everything else that's surrounding us, including most of all the workplace. So how we might have communicated in the past is a lot different than what we communicate today. There's still some of the same principles, but a lot of the things now become more of, and you mentioned as far as genders, race, disabilities, all of those individuals are now more influxed into the workplace, which makes the workplace a different area.
Sure.
So, and I'll talk about this a little bit more. I'll just give a little sneak peek. And a lot of the problems and things that we deal with in the workplace that we might, and I use for example, deal with, I think it's a color issue as far as communication. It's actually a cultural issue,
right.
And we'll talk about that a lot more because we perceive things a certain way,
right.
And because communication is a two-way street, even those who come into the workplace, his expectations are sometimes in communicating from it to come from the organization or the place that they're working for. But part of that has to come from you also,
right.
In understanding that, hey, where you're at, the environment, and understanding the person that you're communicating with. So, of course, with communication, it takes two people, so it's a two-way street. So we'll dive into that, and then how do we take those things to make that environment more liking to each and every one of us.
Right. So, Gabriella, what do you want? What is your goal, or what do you want attendees at the summit to take away from what we're going to be talking about there?
I think for me, the main thing I want them to take away is kind of like you just said, things that they can apply. I know a lot of times you go to a conference and you're inspired and you're motivated and you're like on fire, and then you get back and it's like, well, that was good. Now what? So I really want everyone to be able to take away things that they can actually apply in the workplace.
Right.
And I want them also to change their lens a little bit. I want them to kind of understand. Our word for this year for Bridge is educate. I want them to understand what all of this looks like. And understand that at the end, like, everyone just wants to belong. That's why I wear this blazer days. When I bought it, I saw it and I just thought, like, all the colors just represent everyone, right? And everyone alone looks so different, but when you put them all together, it's beautiful. And at the end of the day, like, everyone just wants to belong and have pieces that they can take back to make things better. Right. And so I think that's my main thing, is I just want everyone to soak it in, really understand, and go in with an open mind. Feel comfortable, not feel judged, and really take things back that they can put into practice, not just come and be inspired, like actually do the work. Because when we do the work, that's when things change.
Exactly. I've heard Dr. William Lewis, he's going to be our other speaker at the event. So I've heard him twice at 2 chamber conferences. He did a couple workshops for us. And I just really liked his approach to talking about belonging and culture. And he has a book, and it's called Sweet Potato Pie or Pumpkin Pie Conversations with My White Friends. And so that sort of opened my eyes when he was talking about what you mentioned. It's cultural. In the North, they call it pumpkin pie. And we in the South, we call it sweet potato pie. Technically, it's really the same thing. We just call it 2 different things, right? So, and to talk, and he also spoke to us about everybody brings something to the table. It may be your age. It may be where you grew up. It may be your race. It could be your gender. It could be anything that you bring to the table, and you bring a perspective as well, and that your voice needs to be heard on the level that you're bringing your information to the table, and your experiences and your journeys, right? And you talked to me the other day about you being from Detroit.
Absolutely.
And your wife being from the South.
Correct.
And same race,
but
different cultures, right?
Absolutely. I'm actually going to talk about that a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm not. Okay, so stay tuned. We're going to talk about that more, right?
That's right. But you're spot on. And I think the more that we come to understand these things, especially, again, in the workplace, we begin to understand that we can function together by building different relationships, because that's always going to make us better. The problem is that we think that in building a relationship, it means that you and I got to go out and share a beer together. It doesn't necessarily mean that. A relationship is just kind of knowing each other's background,
exactly,
where they come from, and just try to acknowledge as far as some of the same things that you all share, and then acknowledge some of the differences at the same time.
Yeah. I like what you said about looking at things through a different lens, because as I said, having my son, I see things through someone in a wheelchair's eyes, because I was the one pushing him around.
Right.
I see how he had to struggle when he was in his walker. So I look at these barriers now because I'm aware of them.
Right.
If you've never experienced that, then you don't know. Right. So I'm anxious to see if people walk away looking at things through a different lens as a result of attending this conference. I'm very excited about that.
I hope so. That's my hope. Because that's, like I said, that's when change happens. My mom, she gives the best story from that, being a Caucasian mom and my dad's African American. She's had to see things from a different lens with me growing up,
exactly.
and learning and educating herself, and then when her baby got older, we would go into a store and I would just be shopping and the clerk would ask, do you want to leave that up front, or, can we hold that for you? My mom was like, wait a minute. But if she has this bag, in her hand, like a Coach bag or something, that question's not going to get asked. So seeing those types of things with my mom, with me growing up, she said the same thing you did. Like, I saw it through a different lens. And that's, for me, when I was able to advocate in a different way than I probably had my whole life, because I was aware. So I think, it just all goes back to awareness,
Yeah, and both of you two brought up something that I think you have to kind of understand on the latter end, because we always go on, I might not know that you look through that lens of disability. Right. I might not know that you are, as far as from a biracial thing, that have had to deal with that. So, it's all how we do it from a tact standpoint.
Right.
Saying that, hey, listen, I have had a son with a disability, and so the latter could be seemingly working against you, but they don't know.
Right.
Exactly.
Education.
Right. Where from a communication standpoint, we immediately on the other end, we come back and say, oh, they don't like me because da 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 da.
Right.
So it also takes just an education process on both ends, but we have a tendency to hit it on one end.
Right. That's true. Anything else you want to add to our conversation about the summit, about your expectations for it? I hope people will attend, because it's going to be amazing. I really do.
I think, again, it goes back to the comfort part. I think a lot of people hear a DEI summit and they get nervous. I don't know why. For me, I love it, but a lot of people do. That term makes them nervous. I don't think it always has a positive, a positive innuendo. It has more of a negative one, or it seems down or dreary. I want people to know that the summit is going to be fun. It's going to be educational. It's going to be enlightening, or it's going to be delightful. I think it's going to enlighten people on, looking at things from a different viewpoint and a different lens. And again, I think the main thing that I want people to take away is that I think it will really help change some perspective on different things. So I really want people to just want to come to the conference, if for nothing else, to hear you and for Dr.
Oh, absolutely.
But to be able to say, you know what, I just want to go and I want to learn one thing that I can take back to my job or my community and make a difference. Even if it's just one thing, that's where it starts. So that's just my hope for it.
Exactly.
I've gotten a lot of, I'm looking forward, first of all, to this, but I've gotten a lot of positive feedback anytime I've done this. I don't do any handouts at all, because at the end of the day, if you really want to be a better communicator, you're going to take from the things that I say, the notes that you feel is going to make you a better communicator.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
because it hits different for different
does.
people.
it does. And let's be honest, most of the time we do handouts on the way out, you see the trash.
Yes,
Oh yeah, or they end up in your car, your trunk, and you never see them again.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And probably the biggest thing for me and the enjoyment is seeing individuals write down certain things as we're going to through the presentation. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a better communicator, be at this workshop this summer. Because I guarantee you, I will, in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through personal experiences or just some of the things that we'll lay out, just different tactics and things like that, you will have some tools to want to be, allow you to be a better communicator.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you all for being guests today on the podcast. And so the event is our Bridge Summit, Creating a Culture of Belonging. It's February 27th at 8:30. You can register at www.claytonchamber.com.
Awesome.
Look forward to seeing you.
We'll see you there.
That's right.